With 2 NFL preseason games in the books, we have some new Bears cut candidates that have emerged. Which players are in danger of getting cut? Roster Cutdown Day coming up quickly. My name is Harrison Graham. You're watching Bears Now by Chat Sports. Before we dive into some of these cut candidates, help a brother out. We're almost at 6,000 followers on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days. Give me a follow for daily Bears news and updates and everything else in between, tweeting about the Bears in real time when things happen. So help us out. Give me a follow at HGramNFL. Let's get to 6,000 by the end of the week. All right, tough decisions are coming for Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, as there's no doubt they're going to have to make tougher decisions this year. Ryan Poles acknowledged as much recently, saying, yeah, like roster cutdown day is always tough, but it's going to be tougher this year because they've added more talent. This is a team that has increased expectations. Even if they're not Super Bowl aspirations, they're definitely more than what they were last year. Obviously, final real opportunity for a lot of players in the bubble is this Saturday against the Buffalo Bills. And then a couple days later, Tuesday, August 29th, is NFL Roster Cutdown Day, where there's going to be a lot of movement around the National Football League. So let's get to some new Bears cut candidates. And again, these are candidates. Doesn't mean they're going to get cut, but some guys who maybe we're on your radar starting training camp of guys that could get cut. Got to talk about P.J. Walker, right? Like, P.J. Walker has not played like a guy that is a high-level backup quarterback in this league. He just hasn't. Like, I liked the signing at the time. They gave him a 2-year commitment, although the second year only has a little money guarantee. We'll take a look at the financials at another time. But at the end of the day, Tyson Bagent has clearly outplayed P.J. Walker. And let me be clear, I think Walker will make the team. Like, if you force me to sit here and say right now, do I think he makes it or do I think he gets cut? I think he makes it. But if you had to keep just one, if you were the Bears, I don't see how you could justify keeping P.J. Walker over Tyson Bagent. I mean, look at the numbers. 5 of 12 for Walker, 13 of 15 for Bagent. 25 yards for Walker, 113 for Bagent. No touchdowns for Walker, 1 for Bagent. It was a rushing, but still. Interception for Walker, no interceptions for Bagent. 6 drives each, and one of those quote-unquote drives for Tyson Bagent was a kneel down in the preseason opener. So really, he's only had 5. You can't cut Tyson Bagent. So basically the option you have, in my opinion, is you either carry 3 quarterbacks with Fields, Walker, and Bagent, or you take the risk and you go with just Bagent as your backup. If you try to get him through waivers and get him back to the practice squad, I think you're going to get burned. I just don't think you can make that decision if you are Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. You finally have a young, developmental backup type of guy worth keeping around in Tyson Bagent. Kudos to the Bears for finding him. Don't screw it up by cutting him, because with the new QB rule where teams are more incentivized to carry 3 quarterbacks, some team will claim him. The Cardinals, the Texans, somebody. And if you're the Bears, you just can't let that happen. So who you keeping? You keeping Tyson Bagent, you keeping P.J. Walker, or you keeping both? Type TB if it's Bagent, type PJ if it's P.J. Walker, type B if it's both. I think keeping both is most likely because Walker still has value as a vet. He's played with DJ Moore, etc. But the answer can't be PJ here. It's either TB or B for Bagent or both. How about Equanimeous St. Brown? And he was always kind of on my radar coming into this camp just because the Bears made such an effort to improve the wide receiver unit, but he was still kind of viewed as a safe option. Like, with Claypool out, he's been working as kind of that number 3 receiver a decent amount. So you're like, okay, like, he's not going to get cut, is he? Well, in the 2 games, he's done nothing at all. 2 targets, no catches, 1 drop. Help P.J. Walker out, by the way. I mean, P.J. Walker, one of the few really good processing decisions he's made in camp is he identified a blitz and read the hot, which was St. Brown, and he just dropped it. Like, that just cannot happen. I don't know. It's just like, you really think about what St. Brown did last year, which was okay, what he's done in camp, which is you don't hear as much flashes about him, the 2 preseason games. It's just like, what does he actually bring to the table at a high level? Let's break it down into tiers, right? Because I'm going to guess the Bears carry 6 receivers, maybe even 5, but I do think it'll be 6. So, obviously, you got your 3 locks, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. I'll put Tyler Scott in the safe category. Like, I just don't see a scenario where he doesn't make it. He's a rookie. He's a 4th rounder. He's been nicked up recently, but I think he's 99.9% safe. Velus Jones, I'd put it like 75% right now. It wasn't a great first preseason game, but he bounced back with a great joint practice against the Colts. And not playing Saturday may have actually helped him because St. Brown and Pettis didn't show you much. I've got them in the bubble category, Velus in the likely safe category. And then how about Darius Fountain, who's trending up? I mean, like, could another strong week of practice and game for him have him push out St. Brown for that number 6 spot? Or at least leapfrog Pettis is an option. I don't think they'll carry 7, but back to EQ, outside of blocking, and I will give him credit, he is an excellent blocking wide receiver. What does he actually do? He drops critical passes. We saw that last year against Miami. It's happened here in the preseason. He doesn't have elite speed. He's an average-ish special teams player. Like, Pettis is much better on special teams. Velus, Tyler Scott, they have more special teams potential. Darius Fountain 2 years ago played 75% of Chiefs special team snaps. Like, you can't keep a guy just because he blocks. Like, he's not going to start. So, like, how often is he actually going to play? And when you bring him in, are you signaling to the defense that you're running the football? Like, I don't know. Like, I need more from EQ. I think he probably makes it, but I'm less sure now. I think you're creeping toward that 50-50 scenario for Equanimeous St. Brown. What's not a 50-50 scenario is if you download the Rocket Money app, you are going to save money. That is a fact because you can set budgets, you can cancel subscriptions, you can monitor your overall spending, and you'll probably realize you're spending money on stuff that you don't need to anymore. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills all in one place. Most people think that they're spending $80 per month on subscriptions. The reality is it's probably closer to $200 because all these streaming services, they keep raising their prices on you and it adds up. And, you know, you probably have a couple of other like subscriptions like to The Athletic or Apple TV, whatever the case may be. That stacks up very, very quickly. Rocket Money can also negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. Think about it. If you could lower your electric bill and your homeowner's insurance by 20%, how much money could you save? Also, with over 3 million users and counting, Rocket Money customers have saved an average of $720 per year. You go on a vacation with that money. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. It's rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. Support our sponsors. Support us and support your pockets because you're going to save money with Rocket Money. It's Rocket Money. Go check them out. Link is in the comments and in the description. rocketmoney.com/bearsnow. Let's talk about D'Onta Foreman now. He's kind of in that EQ category of coming into camp, you're like, okay, he's probably safe, but it is a crowded room, right? And, you know, he's still listed as RB2 at least as of this second by the Bears on their depth chart, but he got the opportunity to start the other night with starters sitting. Khalil Herbert didn't play, and he was okay. He had 4 carries for 12 yards, I think, but in the preseason as a whole, he's got 6 carries for 21 yards. That's kind of mid. Like, he hasn't, and 9 of those yards came on 1 carry, so he's got 5 for 12 beyond that. Had a nice physical run the other night where he broke a couple of tackles, and I actually do like Foreman as a player, but in a crowded room and something else that could tie in here that could get interesting as well, I do wonder if Foreman could be in danger here, especially since he's not a great pass protector, whereas Roschon Johnson is a great pass protector, and he's taken advantage of the carries he's gotten. 19 carries, 76 yards. Thought he ran really well the other night. He catches the ball pretty good as well. Think about this, to tie it back to the quarterback discussion, right? If the Bears carry 3 quarterbacks, which at this exact moment in time, I actually think that's the most likely scenario, where they have to trim back somewhere, right? They'll have to scale back, whether it's at corner, running back, receiver, defensive end, like someone's getting squeezed out. The Bears could easily go Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, pick Ebner or Homer for special teams, and then Kari Blasingame as the fullback. You don't need D'Onta Foreman. Like, would I like him on this team? Do I think he'd have some value? Yes, but how much different is he as a runner than like Roschon Johnson, who's on the first year of a 4-year rookie deal? It's something to consider. Again, I'd like to keep Foreman, but if you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks, someone's getting trimmed out somewhere, and it might be at that running back position. Now, who's more likely to be cut? If you think it's Equanimeous St. Brown type EQ, if you think it's D'Onta Foreman type DEF, I think St. Brown's probably a tick more likely, but they're both kind of in that 50-50 category. I think these are 2 players that need to show something in the final preseason game. So does Rasheem Green. And Rasheem Green is a tricky one because all reports suggest that he's had a really good camp. But a couple things to consider. One, the defensive end depth chart group depth is getting really crowded, right? Yannick Ngakoue, DeMarcus Walker, we know they're making the team. I don't know for sure if we can sit here and say there's a single lock beyond then, but you got 4 guys competing, right? Dominic Robinson, Trevis Gipson, Terrell Lewis, Rasheem Green, even DeAnthony Jones flashed the other night. The point is the edge position is crowded right now, and I don't think you're going to carry 6 edges. Again, especially if you carry 3 quarterbacks. Like, you got to trim back somewhere. I think it's probably 5. And Rasheem Green, who has been a guy that's bounced around a bit, but he's been pretty productive, right? Like 10 sacks combined the last 2 years. He had 4 sacks back in 2019 as well. Like, he's a guy that can give you 4 or 5 sacks. That's why I liked the signing at the time, but someone's getting squeezed out. I don't think it should be Terrell Lewis. He's earned a roster spot. Dominic Robinson's only in the second year of a rookie contract. He also hasn't played great in the games, but he's been good in practice, and he's got 3 more years of cheap roster control. Those things matter in these discussions. I think it's going to be Rasheem Green or Trevis Gipson. I think one of those guys gets cut. It easily could be Gipson, but it could also be Green. Maybe it becomes a financial decision. We'll have to wait and see what Ryan Poles does. Got another one here. Dylan Cole, who was signed to be a special teams ace and a quality backup linebacker. He's missed a good amount of camp with an injury, probably a couple of weeks or so now. And, on paper coming into camp, he was like your 4th, 5th linebacker. I'd say 5th probably with Noah Sewell's emergence as a rookie. But you've got Edwards, Edmonds, Sanborn, and Sewell. I don't think any of them are going anywhere. If you're only carrying 5, which that's kind of the sweet spot. Sometimes teams go 6. It could be tricky. If they go 6, I think Cole's likely safe. If it's 5, Micah Baskerville, the UDFA out of LSU, has really stepped up and shown something here. He's played pretty well throughout camp in the preseason. And Michael Walker, who they signed recently, who was a starter last year for the Falcons, he led you in tackles the other night. So he took advantage of his opportunity while Cole was absent. The tricky one, these 3 guys right here with Cole, Baskerville, and Walker could be competing for one spot. So fascinated to see how it plays out. Availability is important, and Cole's missed some significant time here. Now, name a surprise Bears cut candidate. We just went through 5 for you guys here on the show. If I'm forgetting somebody, let me know. But just to recap, these 5 players, while you get us your name in. P.J. Walker at quarterback. Again, I think he's safe, but we'll see what happens there. Equanimeous St. Brown, D'Onta Foreman, a couple of vet skill players. Rasheem Green and Dylan Cole. And